Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. Um, with me this morning are my brothers, Honorable Kobe, someone representing Guyak Shelling Federal Constituency in Adamawa State, and Right Honorable Aliyu Mustafa, representing Ekara, Kubo Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, and my humble self, Ikenga Imo Ugochinyere, representing Idata North, Idata South Federal Constituency, and DG of the PDP governorship campaign in Imo State. Let me start this briefing by appreciating the Nigerian judiciary for the landmark judgment the Court of Appeal delivered in Lagos in a sitting presided by Justice Gumel and Justice Peter Afem and Justice Aisha Menoma, which reaffirmed the landmark victory that was secured at the election. And I also appreciate the President of the Court of Appeal for constituting a panel of justices who has the courage and the capacity to do justice to our case. And it's also important to appreciate the annexed house and security agencies who worked diligently on that election day to ensure that our election results were transmitted and our victory was also declared as required by the law. And let me also, before we start, express our solidarity and support to the Nigerian Labour Congress over the unfortunate incident which nearly led to the killing of the president of the country's Labour Congress. And it's important that from our intelligence, that attack on Comrade Ajero was aimed at pitching President Bola Ahmed Tinubu against Nigerian workers. Those who did that in a way wanted to create a distraction that would pitch workers against the federal government. And it's so unfortunate that up till now, the ringleader of those attackers have not been arrested. And the solidarity with NLC on the decisions that are taken over this attack. Ladies and gentlemen, as we mount this podium, we are fully aware that there is no story about our dear Imo State we already do not know. There is no aspect of misgovernance I will talk about you have not personally experienced. Imo to us is an open book, and this book we must not allow them to shut down without writing all the wrongs and bad narrative for which our dear state is now known. The last few years in Imo State have been years of gloom, pain, and ruthless leadership. No strata of the society, no sector, no community, and absolutely no person in Imo State has been spared of the horrible dark side of a stolen mandate. Whether you are backing the government or against the government, whether you are sitting on the fence or just sitting in your house, whether you are just minding your business or just asking innocent questions, whether you are employed or unemployed, rich or poor, of the political class or from the artisan community, we all are victims of this government in Imo State that we never elected. So I stand before you today with my brothers in the PDP with a sense of purpose as Imo embarks on another journey of transition. As you know, our great party have chosen Senator Samuel Anyanwu and his deputy, Honorable Jones Onyeriri, as the flag bearers for the November 11th governorship election in Imo State. Likewise, Senator Dino Melaya for Kogi and Governor Diri for Bayelsa. It is not just a mandate by the party, but a mandate by the people of Imo to recover Imo from the brink. So I want you to understand the weight of this moment and the gravity of the task at hand. These and many other considerations have shaped our decision in recent time. Consider the current state of our beloved Imo. It languishes in darkness, it aches in pain, and it shudders in despair. We have endured the loss of our peace, our security, and even our loved ones. Now they seek to extend this suffering for another 4 years. We cannot renew a mandate that in the first place we did not give. They have turned our state into a den of robbers, a playground for corruption, impunity, and violence, and have ravaged and destroyed our institutions and our businesses and our communities. Take a look at Imo today. We have lost our right to free speech. We have lost our right to freedom. We have lost our right to even fair politicking. Go around the world, only that of the ruling government in the world that have campaign billboards standing in the world. Those of other candidates have either been pulled down or have been barred from erecting one. Where has that happened before? And he thinks that if he shuts down the fair contest, he will win. He will need to do much more to stop Imo people. Our nightlife is gone, a shadow of his former self. The business traffic into Owerri on weekends have fizzled out. Businesses are packed up and left Imo. There is a huge drop in commerce because Imo is now a playground for political iberiberism. If you are in doubt, go to Oriomoma, even in the governor's village, and ask them. Go to International Market or Lo and ask them. Go to Oriokoro Market and ask them. Even a Kembudi feels the impact. Go to a Karondizon. Majority of the customers that come from outside Imo State are too scared to return until they are genuine guarantee of their safety. I did not mention markets in Okigwe because the realities in some of these communities in Okigwe is now horrifying. In some communities, people go to bed afraid and wake up uncertain how they will survive the next day. There is this spell of darkness and cloud of uncertainty in Imo we cannot wish away. What about the destruction of lives and properties, the closure of businesses, and the atmosphere of fear and terror in our dear state? I say this because I was a victim of their terror attack on the 23rd of December 2022. My convoy was attacked by hooded men led by one of their men. On the 14th of January, they brought full-scale war to my country home in Akokwa in Idatonod. They came with explosives, driven all the way from the capital city of Owerri, and all manner of firearms. They killed my uncle and some of our kinsmen. I was the target, but God reminded them that they are mere mortals and not God. Imo needs help, and he needs help urgently. Our dear state is sitting on the quicksand and sinking by the day. No state can thrive or survive under an atmosphere of impunity and terror. Widespread extortion, arbitrary arrests, forced disappearances, framing of political opponents, and wanton looting of our commonwealth. Apparently, it now seems safer to live in Boronu or Gaza than to live in Imo under Uzodinma. In Imo, there is no better way to say it. Darkness looms large in our dear state, and it's time to rise up and take our homeland from these plunderers. It is not about the party you belong to or the zone you come from, but a battle to salvage what is left of our plundered heritage and reclaim our dear state from the brink of collapse and anarchy. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of convenience and comfort, but where he stands at times of challenges and controversies, as said by Martin Luther King Jr. In view of the urgent task to save Imo from the brink of collapse and to save the lives of our people, I will be actively participating in the Saturday election and will be voting for the candidate of the PDP, my own party, Senator Samuel Anyanwu Sandadi, for the governorship seat of Imo State, and Right Honorable James Onyeriri as his deputy governorship candidate. I have directed all those who believe in my leadership, especially in Idato North and South and greater part of Imo State, and our strong movement, the Grassroots Development Forum, the GDF, who I have talked to yesterday and who will be meeting today. My unquenchable commitment for democracy, justice, and people's interest is the reason I'm seeking your support to mobilize your household, supporters, and vote for PDP. Vote for Senator Samuel Anyanwu Sandadi. Look out for the great umbrella sign and thumbprint to end the nightmares we are currently going through daily. The umbrella sign, the PDP logo. In case if you don't know it, show them. This is where we are going to vote on Saturday. This is where you are going to vote on Saturday. This decision is born out of the urgent need to save Imo and the fact that in challenging moments where lives of the people are in danger, we all must have the boldness to put our individual political differences aside to save the common interests of our people before they completely destroy our people. This election is important in determining our desire to have decency over rascality. Let me also urge my fellow party members that are aggrieved. I have one question. In whose interest will the continued stay in power of the regime today in Imo South? If you don't like Senator Samuel Anyanwu and our candidate, and you don't like Senator Tan of Labour Party, or General Ogunewu of Accord of AA Party, or Ijogu, To be honest, don't you think you are indirectly or directly working and aiding Hope Uzodinma to remain in office while saying that you are aggrieved? Think about the lives of people that are being lost every day and place it alongside your grievances and ask yourself, does it worth it? Let us remember our people that are in pain daily, those still missing, those in hospital, like our own brother Ajero, NLC president, whose quest for governance and workers' welfare nearly sent him to grave in the hands of the sons of the Imo emperor. Every hour they stay in power is pain and destruction. And we can end that pain on Saturday if we all work together despite our differences and party affiliation. Let's mobilize, let's vote, let's wait behind at the polling unit, let's defend it, let's ensure as a matter of right that announcement and upload from polling unit is done. Under no circumstances would that not be done. You must ensure that there is announcement and upload at the polling unit, and Imo will be free again. Come this Saturday election, I urge our party members in Imo, in Kogi State, in Bayelsa, to be vigilant and guide with their last breath the operation mobilize early to polling units, monitor and verify election material distribution, vote and wait behind until announcement and mandatory transmission of results are completed at the polling unit level. Verify and monitor the movement and distribution of this material. Go early to the polling unit with your family and friends. Vote against them, even if they offer you money. Wait behind after voting. I'm repeating because it's very important. Ensure immediate announcement after voting and mandatory transmission of the results. Video the announcement and upload immediately and share it, including the pictures of the result that must be pasted on the wall before any next staff moves out from the polling unit. Do not, and I repeat, do not allow the annex staff to leave the polling unit without announcing and also transmitting the results. Do not allow this ad hoc staff tell you he or she needs to get to the ward or LGA collection center before transmitting. If you allow that, the result will be changed. Do not listen to the story that, oh, I have a wrong password. Let INEC ensure their ad hoc staff are given the right password, as nobody will be allowed to depart from the polling unit without fulfilling the constitutional process of completing election at the polling unit and transmitting that result. If there is no network, let them use the offline mode to still send the result. And also go with internet service so that you can share hotspot with them to aid the transmission. On no human account should transmission not be completed in your polling unit before that result move. If it's not transmitted, you have failed. This election can only be won or lost at what we do or fail to do at the polling unit. They have made plans to obstruct transmission or frustrate it, and your duty is to ensure announcement and transmission are carried out at the polling unit. So mobilize all your people, women, men, and your able-bodied sons to keep vigil with one agenda, and I repeat, one agenda across Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa. Announce and transmit at the polling unit before any INEC staff can leave the place. Once you transmit across Imo before 6 p.m., the winner will be known, and those waiting to change the result at LGA or Ward Collection Center will be wasting their time and igniting crises that can consume them. These men of weak electoral strength, but which penchant for bloody electoral iniquity, are already panicking. Hence the intimidation, bribery, and endless attempt to compromise the electoral space. Some have even used taxpayers' money to book all hotel rooms in their states so that they can flood the place with dog, their ICT rigging experts, and chase away observers. But fear not. The hotel room of the people on Saturday is the polling unit, where you have the power to deal a fatal electoral blow to them. Go to Izombe today. From October 2021 to this morning, no fewer than 200 homes have been burned down. I know of a journalist in Izombe whose family house was also razed. Is he a criminal? Abu community is deserted as we speak. Arondizo community is also deserted. It is not the first time or second or third time they have tried to flee their community. Yet the state used the same resources they use to fight law-abiding citizens and refuse to protect these communities. Do I need to mention in Hitubon the number of unreported armed attack and incident of kidnapping going on in that area is so alarming that it should get the attention of any humane and sympathetic leader. They, like many other communities across the three-state zone in the Imo State, have simply been abandoned to their fate by a government that has failed in its obligation to the people, which is safety of lives and property. Today, apart from the three major roads entering Imo from Olo to Owerri, from Okigwe, from Owerri, built at very expensive cost that can even do 15 of such roads. There is no other project existing in Imo State in the last 3 years. The local government is not functioning. Their location is nowhere to be found. In Idato, where I come from, like every other part of Imo, the road have cut. You can't even enter Idato. You have to follow other parts, other states in the country to enter Idato, and nothing have been done. So, considering the catastrophe the regime in Imo represents, the initial political setback I suffered during the said primary mean nothing when placed side by side with what Imo people have endured in the hands of this regime. In the light of this, it became incumbent on me to forgive and set aside personal differences for the greater good of our dear state. It was Benjamin Franklin who said, after the Treaty of Paris and resolution of the British and American War on 27 July 1783, in his letter to Sir Joseph Banks, he said, there is never a good war or a bad peace. The right heart exceeds all. My heart is good and has exceeded all wrongs. It is time to let go of our personal differences for the collective good. When darkness looms large, as it is the case today in our dear state, then we must set aside our differences, unite and fight for it. So all those text messages and voice notes about my body language and political choice ahead of November 11 should stop forthwith. Imo comes first, and this is where I stand, and this is where I differ with others. I have therefore resolved, like I said before, after due consultation with our people, our leaders, our political associates, the GDM family, the irrepressible people of Idato Nation, the good and long-suffering people of Imo State, and indeed, all of us of good governance and humanity, to fully, and I repeat, to fully support our party, the PDP, and our governorship candidate, Senator Samuel Anyanwu and his deputy, Honorable Jones Onyeriri, to contribute my quota in the effort to put an end to the ugly reign of pain, destruction, and looting in Imo State. I have often asked myself, what if I had died in the hands of those state-backed assassins recruited from their militia strike force? The vehicle that conveyed the bomb that detonated in my premises came all the way from Owerri, passing all the checkpoints. That was possible because the assassins were escorted by somebody into my domain. When Uzodinma lost it all was when he thought I was going to die and came on TV to lie against me and the dead and the living that I brought the attack on myself. But unfortunately, I want to tell him I did not die, I'm alive. And I will continue to do that responsibility that God Almighty gave to me. That's the same reason I wanted to be a Reverend Father. That is what I will continue to do as a political leader. Even in the affairs of men, God still rules, not governors. I might have survived by the will of God and had the resources to expose them. But many other people in Imo did not survive such attack. Many did not survive their freedom. Many are suffering for crimes they did not commit, while a few others who survived either have no choice to demand for justice or are too terrified to tell their story. It is said that when a snake bites your neighbor, you too are in danger. This is true because it means there is a snake in the neighborhood. And if you don't join hands to get rid of it, you may be the next victim. In Imo, there is a political snake in our neighborhood. Those who see evil and refuse to speak up will one day be victim of the things they promoted in silence. My experience gave me an insight into what Imo people are going through. I went through a journey of blood, bombing, beheading, and all that. Imagine 28 criminal charges fabricated against one person by state actors, 3 close shaves with death by assassins, but God saved me all. Though some of our kinsmen and colleagues were murdered and their murderers shielded. And that is why I asked myself, should I continue to live in fear or should I continue not to speak up just because somebody somewhere wants to be re-elected? I owe society a duty to continue to advocate what would be beneficiary to society, having been saved by God Almighty. So I asked myself, should I distance myself from this call to fight for our people's freedom because of my comfort? God forbid. What if the killers has returned to Owerri with my head as they kept on shouting and threatening on arrival outside my gate just before butchering my dear uncle, whose body is still in the mortuary as I speak? Yes, he is still in the morgue because they have not even allowed us the peace to even bury our dead. So this is not just politics. It is a spiritual commitment for me and a promise I made to God that if he saved me from that bloody attack, I will never stop fighting for justice and for what I know to be right, regardless of the threat and danger. I am on that course and I will not mislead you. Drop anything that divides us. Forgive one another. Let's go. Be courageous. Shave personal interest for collective good. for darkness is upon all of us. Join hands, join hands. Our land is under siege. Tell your mothers, tell your fathers, advise your daughters, and our sons who are still alive to come out and vote. And wait, while Owerri is only yet to last up to 2 years in government house, the nearest to Olu is Okigwe, which has enjoyed just 4 years in power since 1999. Yet, a bunch of political opportunities gathered and initiated a charter of equity for which they allocated another 4 years to Olu, or better put, those are the man. The irony is that we have seen some Owerri people whose mandate is being stolen, clapping and cheering those are the man's new charter of iniquity. The political implication is that if Owerri zone fails to recover their mandate from the usurpers or Okigwe, they would have effectively forfeited the privileges of zoning and thrown the contest open for all comers for the senatorial zone going forward. To put it in a broader perspective, if Owerri and Okigwe people allow these men whose stomach is their god to lead their argument, dictate their reasoning, insult their sensibility, then they have lost the sympathy of decent men and rendered their agitation for power sheet of no effect. First, you must agree that Uzodinma is incompetent to lead a state like Imo. And secondly, if Owerri genuinely desires power shift, then PDP is a party to vote. Samuel Anyanwu is a candidate to vote. But if they willfully choose to vote for an incompetent candidate from Olu, then people will definitely withdraw their sympathy, including me, and conclude that Owerri is not interested in power shifting to their zone. Owerri zone should ordinarily distance themselves from Uzodinma and his charter of iniquity on the grounds of his incompetence and such evident decadence that now threatens decent society. We all know we also not unaware. People to whom anything is acceptable just for a piece of bread. But we must rise and stop this ugly shit. It is time for men of conscience to take a stand and clean up our society, starting from ridding it of the moral and societal baggage the people in Imo today represent. I have a duty, not just as the DG of this campaign, but as the messenger of the people, to stand still till the end. The constant threat of assassination and other litany of threats cannot stop this march. Rather, it strengthens and reminds me of the woeful, decadent, barbaric, and lawless state of our dear state. I therefore call on Imo people to ignore their threat and their gragra. They brought it to Idato. He boasted that he would take Idato and crush us, and deployed his assets. From outside Imo, we defeated Uzodinma and his candidate, who just won 1 polling unit, 1 out of 346. That is one of the great heroic elections in Nigerian history. From outside the election venue, from outside Imo, the opponent still went on with 1 polling unit out of 346. He was humiliated by the power of God and the will of the people. Learn from the Idato experience. Learn from the courage me and my people in Idato exhibited. Everybody in Imo, everybody in Kogi, everybody in Bayelsa, you can do it. It was a story of courage forged around the individuality of the people who worked as leaders themselves, manned their areas, and defended their land from evil. They owned the project, defied their threat, and elected me even in my absence. Indeed, posterity will be kind to Idato. We call on INEC to be very careful with the staff they will be posting for the election. The rumors of plans to bypass the beavers, block transmission, upload false accreditation, and so on and so forth must not happen. Let the November Imo governorship election be free, fair, and credible. Let not toy with the people's sensibility and temperament. You may not like my face. I won't even beg you to like my face. You may also not like my style. I won't even beg you to like my style. Or my tone of voice. I won't even beg you to like the tone of my voice. But at least love yourself. So vote for your safety and well-being. Vote so that your old parents in the village will no longer have to run into the bush in the middle of the night. This is why they want to impose a forced silence on the people using intimidation and their usual scare tactics. We are aware that a lot of people in Imo have been shut down by the regime in Imo because they are aware that the state chief executive has his bag loaded with trumped-up criminal, because they will be charged with trumped-up criminal charges prepared in advance. And if as much as consistently hold a divergent political opinion and interrogate their lives, then you run the risk of being slammed with one of their assorted criminal charges, and shortly after, they will unleash their militia squad on you. To our dear President and Commander-in-Chief, this is the first election to be conducted under your leadership as President. The world will be watching and waiting eagerly to evaluate this election and use it as an index of your preparedness to enforce institutional reforms and to ascertain if you allow the continued desecration of our security apparatus by desperate politicians in different states. We are begging the president, and we know that the president will help Imo people freely elect their leadership. Already, people are lobbying and running helter-skelter to see if they can get a blanket cover to once again compromise and use our security institutions against the people. If this is allowed, the backlash and widespread condemnation that will follow will rub off negatively on the new administration, and that is why we strongly believe the president will not be part of that. As a Nedeko chieftain and a man with a strong history of involvement in the Nigerian democratic process, we urge you, dear Mr. President, to categorically order and insist on a free, fair and credible conduct of election in Imo, Bayelsa and Kogi State come November 11, 2023. You have already said that, and we also want you to continue to reinforce that until Saturday. Like my father once told me, there are people in life, Mr. President, who are not worth risking your name for. You are aware of how Uzodinma became governor of Imo State. The image of Nigeria and its judiciary took a big hit and are still suffering for that indiscretion. And as such, my dear President, any action or inaction that may seek to reinforce such a person in power can only constitute bad publicity and an unwanted baggage to your young administration. Need I mention that the person in question lacks the consistency of character that will warrant our dear president to stake the image of his administration on a subject whose loyalty is still divided. Remember, Mr. President, I do not need to, but I will remind you now. Remember the sudden drafting of Ahmed Lawan to run for the APC presidential ticket. Did you do anything to Uzodinma? But that is the nature of Uzodinma. Upon all that you have done for him, but he still drafted Ahmed Lawan to run for president. So remember the move to even lure Buhari to back Lawan. So remember the sudden swapping of delegate lists at APC presidential primary. I'm not against anybody supporting any candidate, but when a man goes to bring a particular candidate just to stop a particular, it goes beyond. He has deeper interest because he may want to be a running mate. He tried it during the supplementary election that held in Imo State, where suddenly candidate that was losing the election suddenly came from last position to be winners with outrageous figures backed up with Beaver's report. In Isu LUGA, where you have modesties of PDP, Mbitoli K, the federal constituency, Idato South, Ayazumbise, where Uche Ogbuago of LP, Azodo of Accord, Ren Sokoro of PDP was leading winners, but suddenly strange figures were recorded against them at the supplementary election. And that was why we now investigated. And at this point, I will make this revelation to the Nigerian people of already in motion attempt to bypass the accreditation, use of fake accreditation to back up rigged figures. This document, which I will send to the NSA and to the DSS and to the president, is also very, very important and a high level of national security breach. That if you look at these figures here, if you look at these figures, you will not see this is genuine accreditation. What this is actually is that after accreditation, most Nigerians don't know that's what we call the back-end report. They go for the Beaver's report that will show you the total number accredited. But there's what we call the back-end report. When you look at the back-end report, it will show you the name of the polling unit, the voter's ID of the person that was accredited, the time he was accredited, and the date. That is what is in the back end. But people most times request for Beaver's report and don't see that. Now, when you see that, you see the person who was accredited. Now, look at the genuine one. You can see the accreditation on 18th of that election, 11:54:21. This one, 11:58:48. This one, 12:07:25. You can see this is the gap showing the time you came to the Beaver's machine. You are accredited. You are given a paper to go and vote. Now, look at the fake one. Now, look at this one. This is from Ayazumbise for 15th April election. That's supplementary election. Look at what happened here. 36:24. 36:24. That is 1 p.m. 24 minutes 002 seconds. 1 p.m. 24 minutes 02 seconds. I want Nigerians to pay attention and understand what I'm saying. It's a bit technical, but you can understand it. That what they are saying is that these thousands of people were all accredited in 1 p.m. 24 seconds and 02. Are you looking at it? You need to understand what I'm saying. This is treason, but it has been done. Somebody did it, and that is why suddenly people who were leading in election that had 1,000 votes for them to win, suddenly the person they were leading now scored wide margin because somebody wrote fake result and then uploaded. And because it's time stamped, when you upload it, it now shows that the time it was uploaded is the same exact time. Look at this one, 15:09. 15:09. That is 3 p.m. 09:02. 3 p.m. 09:02. 3 p.m. 0902, 3 p.m. 0902. All these people were accredited between 3 p.m. 0902. What I say is that 1,000 people, 200 people come to the polling unit, they put their finger before you can say jack. 100 have been accredited in 3 p.m. 0502. Same. Now, in the course of our investigation, we now went further. This is the same in Isu. Now, in the course of our investigation, we now went further to now check, to now find out, get this stamped. And guess what? After they discovered that this forgery has leaked, what they now did, they took this accreditation, that is the fake one, and put it in a system, and then draw a diagram and started shifting the time. So what they now were doing now, they will now say 3 p.m. 05, 3 p.m. 010, 3 p.m. 015. You know, they are not that too intelligent. Now the question is, how were you still able in gap of 5 seconds, 10 seconds to have accredited thousands of people? And now the question is, why didn't they shift it down? Because they have rigged the election with high number of people. If they keep shifting it within the gap of, let's say, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, they will require this election to go to 3 weeks before they can get it done. And that's why you see them still trapped. This has happened. And this is what they are exporting to Kogi and Bayelsa. So you may think that you are winning, only for somebody to go and write 1 million results, and then you say, oh, let me see the Beavers report. That Beavers report will show 1 million, but when you see the back end report, you will now see that all the thing was accredited in the same seconds, the entire 1 million. That is the highest level of fraud. This is the reason I review, if you remember, the compromise of the voter register. Many people ask me that election will be by fingerprint. Those who compromise the voter register, what are they going to do? How are they going to do it during accreditation? I told you that if anybody can compromise the voter register and put in fake name, that person must have devised a means to bypass accreditation, so he can use that high number to say he won election. Gentlemen, this is it. This is the clamor. This is why those assassination attempts was planned to kill me, to silence me. I have dug it out. We have it, and we're sending it to the security agencies. And that should not happen in Imo State, because we will not accept it. So INEC should watch their ICT people and then find out those who even did this one and then find them. I have confidence in Professor Mahmoud Yakub that he will find those who did this and avert it from happening in Imo. So, police and Mr. President, to order for the back-end server of the Beavers accreditation for the above-mentioned supplementary election and see a huge breach to national electoral security, and arrest and prosecute for treason those who invented the upload of those fake accreditation. I must also appreciate the Inspector General of Police for ongoing deployment and redeployment, especially on the controversial Commissioner of Police, Bade, and plead with our hardworking IGP to redeploy those officers who aided the electoral madness during the House of Assembly election in Imo State to avoid the sabotaging INEC and the people's will to freely choose their leaders. The efforts of the Army and DSS I have been informed are very encouraging, and I plead that more scrutiny of the field officers that participated in the last election must be carried out and the bad ones removed. Some did fantastic work, while some betrayed their code of operation. So we thank heads of these security agencies in the process that are putting in place, and all that it must be sustained concert today. A strong democracy rooted in free and fair pool is the key to national security. In conclusion, let me make this fact in concluding. This compromise that we have reviewed, which is the clamors of the earlier compromise of the voter register, was no use during the presidential election. So the point I'm trying to make here, I'm not condoning rigging. The people who did this did not do it for President Bola Tinubu. They did not do it with INEC chairman. They did it for themselves. And to tell you the kind of people they are, they should have used it during the presidential election to benefit the president. They did not use it. They kept it. And they used it for their own supplementary elections to cover the shortfalls when they were losing. And now they want to use it also during the governorship election. So it has nothing to do with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So those people are the same elements I'm telling about that the security agencies need to move in now. Get to the point and get the back end right now. And then get to the root of those behind it and ensure that they are tried for treason and sentenced. This is the reason why I face those 4 assassination attempts, to see my mouth so that this does not come to the public. But I have a duty, no matter the threat, to make it known to the public. Now, we are good governance, the right and welfare of citizens comes first. That society works. Ndimo, on November 11, 2023, go to the polling unit. You, your family and friends, look for the umbrella symbol of our party and vote for PDP. Vote for Senator Samuel Anyanwu for Governor of Imo State. Vote Honorable James Onyori as deputy governor. On that note, Ndimo, I hereby declare this press briefing closed. But before then, let my brother Honorable Kobis, representing Guyak in Adamawa, who is also of the PDP family.
Very impressed